This is episode 97 of Organizations Win Championships, an Odyssey 2400 sports podcast about your Chicago Bulls. I am Dan Bernstein, along with my podcast partner, Count Wilhelm Bungus, who has
Why
all
the
sorts
past 2 weeks have you just called me names?
Because you're an idiot. Because last week you fell asleep and we had to track you down, and I had to call your roommate to see if you were okay, to make sure you were alive. Because
This week I was doing homework, and also there's a lot going on in the world right now.
So what does that have
not
to do with being in time for a damn podcast? What does that have to do with anything? There's always something going on in the
homework?
world. Yeah, homework's important, but you also know you're getting paid to do a podcast. Show up for work, dumbass.
I'll blow it up your ass.
Ow. The Chicago Bulls are 3-4. They are 6th in the East in the NBA. They are now currently in offensive rating 24th of 30. In defensive rating, they are 17th of 30. They're still number one in pace. They're still the fastest playing team in the league. But in their net rating, they are 21st of 30. So we've got 3 games to address, as well as other things that are just kind of going on in general. So why don't we start with the win over the Orlando Magic, which was actually surprising and a fairly complete and well-played game.
Well, why do they just decide to start playing basketball when they go down 20 points?
I don't know.
It's really interesting.
The
same thing happened against Brooklyn. They didn't win that game.
But same thing happened against Utah.
Yeah.
All 3 of these games, they were down big.
It gets annoying.
Well, it's something more than that, especially at home. And I don't know why this is a problem for them at home, more so even than on the road. But this was a really good game for Josh Giddey, where he ended up with 20 points and 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. And this was an example of kind of what they have to do when they're not, even when they're not shooting a ton. They only made 13 threes. And they turned it over 15 times, but they actually got some stops defensively when they needed to, which is incredibly rare for them. And the Magic were just ridiculously ice cold. They only made 11 of their 46 for 24% 3-point shooting. So I don't know if that's good defense. From what I saw, a lot of it is just good luck for them and bad luck for the Magic.
Yeah. And especially against a team like the Magic, you're going to need a little bit of luck. And I don't mean that in a pun type way. I just think that if you're going to be playing a better team and you're shooting this many threes and you're playing that fast, you're going to need a lot of luck. And I feel like for most of these games this season, they're going to need a lot of luck to win because they shoot so many threes. However, they need to get to a point where it's not luck, because eventually, I'm not saying this season I couldn't care less. Teams like Boston teams like OKC even are going to shoot a ton of threes, but because they have shooters, they're going to make them a lot of times. And they're going to win a lot of games. Bulls don't have as many shooters as those teams. And this goes without saying how well Vooch has played and shot from behind the arc. This goes without saying how well Levine has been playing for the most part. And they're going to lose a lot of games in this way, but I'd rather them lose like this, where they're shooting threes and playing fast. And if they do win, a lot of it is going to be luck and the ball bouncing their way. And that's just what it is.
And even with most of their team available in the game against Brooklyn, they shot it okay. They made 17 of 44, which as a team is fine. They turn it over more than you like with 16. Those are really the 2 numbers. If they're going to play at a high pace, that's the number we're looking at. We're going to look at 3-point attempts, 3-pointers made, and turnovers. You also want to see the assist number per the number of field goals be high, the percentage of made shots on which they had an assist. And things were okay, except the defense on Cam Thomas when it seemed to matter, when he kind of took over the game.
that dude does not give two flying
No, he does not.
SHITS.
No, he does not. He does not.
He's a bucket. Don't get me wrong, he's a bucket, but man, he does not care. I like him. I think he's
You
fun.
always have. You always have.
Because he just doesn't care. He just goes out there and he says, "Give me the ball, and I'm not giving it back." That shot he hit to seal the game from half court was nuts. People are saying it was the opposite of the "Oh my goodness" Valentine shot because Adam Amin said, "Oh my goodness, Thomas." Oh, wow, it went in, and it was really, 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 really funny.
Didn't he have a stretch? Didn't Cam Thomas have a stretch last year of like 40-point games?
Yeah, it was something crazy. Was it what, 3 or something?
Something like that. It was like a Linsanity sort of little spasm of stardom that he had.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It was almost like what DeMar did. I mean, DeMar was obviously established when he did it in 2022,
So,
right? Something like that.
yeah, but I'm left with this question, and this is especially with the last 2 games. More so this one because we're talking about a team in the East. I've been keeping very close watch on the teams I know are probably better than the Bulls, just as I try to
Yeah.
ensure that the Bulls end up with their draft pick. Are we there on the Nets? Because
Say
I
that
don't know
again?
that I am. Are we sure the Nets are better than the Bulls, that they're gonna win more games
Yeah.
than the Bulls? You're sure?
I feel pretty sure.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I wanna say I am, but the roster is kinda I sure hope they're better.
Yeah, obviously.
But if they play 10 times, I think the Bulls win 5 or 6.
Really?
I do. I do. And as well, and maybe
Let
not
me let
without
me just let me get a look at their roster again.
that's what I'm looking at it
Just
right now.
to
Their starters are Schroeder, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Ben Simmons.
Schroeder's
And
been
then
good, man.
it's Nick Claxton, Jalen Wilson, Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, and Keon Johnson off the bench.
Keon Johnson had an insane dunk. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that seems
I'm
to
just
be a thing
looking now.
against
I
the Bulls.
mean, I think they're significantly better than the Bulls because even though
Okay.
guys like Nick Claxton, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Shake Milton's on that roster, Schroeder, Ben Simmons even,
Yeah.
those guys are proven to be NBA players. The
Okay.
guys that the Bulls have that are kind of in that realm, obviously Zach and Vooch are going to be above that. Kobe White is kind of like the Cam Thomas, if you will, of the Bulls.
I will.
They don't have any proven guys because their bench is Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips. Dorian Finney-Smith has been in the league for a while.
Yep.
Cam Johnson has been in the league for a while, and they can both play NBA basketball. Even Shake Milton's on that roster. It also says Bojan is on that roster. Is that
No,
right?
is he?
Bojan
I
Bogdanovic? Yeah.
I don't know. Is he hurt? So the next game, the
Something.
Bulls came home and they took on Utah. I watched way too much of this basketball game. I
I
think I
didn't
watched it
because I was
from start
covering a
to finish.
basketball game.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I know
glad
you're
I didn't.
yeah, this was by a mile the worst defense I've seen the Bulls play all year. And that's saying something. The number of absolute blow-bys in this game. Like, first dribble apparently, according to Billy Donovan, there were a couple of times where some guys were playing zone and some guys were playing man.
Yeah.
You know what that is? That's really bad. That's when you don't know what defense you're in, that's a huge problem. And it showed because especially the bigs and the fact that the Bulls are so small. Watching, I think Kyle Filipowski is going to be a pretty good player once he figures some stuff out. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Walker Kessler had 16 rebounds. I was just doing whatever he wanted. They got clobbered on the boards. The Jazz
Yeah.
had 49 rebounds to the Bulls 36. And the Bulls made 14 of 37 threes. They only turned it over 9 times, but they could not get a stop.
They never can. I mean, Josh Giddey. Yeah.
It's so bad, and I watched him closely. He does try sometimes, and then other times it's like he forgets. Just as far as effort, as far
He
as
does
getting
those
in a
little
low defensive
slaps. He does
stance.
those little slappy, "Oh, I hit the ball and went off your knee, haha." But my god, is his lateral movement just terrible.
It's
And we haven't
non-existent.
even mentioned John Collins yet, because he put Kobe White in the rim. As Chuck Swirsky would say, John Collins eating rim.
Yes,
And
he
that
was.
was ooh. I and the funny thing is, yesterday I was wearing my Anthony Edwards posterizing John Collins shirt as
Oh, are
that
you?
happened.
That's funny. That's funny.
So I think
That's great.
it's partly my fault. But so I'm sorry, Kobe White. Um
So
or
I
wait,
actually
no.
have
That game was the game was 2 days ago, right?
yeah.
I don't know why
Yeah, it
the
was
time is a distant concept at this
at a
point. Yeah,
flat
that was 2
circle.
days ago.
Yes,
But
it was 2
yes,
days ago, and, um, to
I'm just my
remind me
brain
about
is a pile of
I know.
mush after
I know.
that past
It was
couple
a
of
long night. It's alright. But please
yeah.
remind me to get back to that dunk because I do here is the injury report at the moment for the Bulls, which has got a bunch of names on it. Josh Giddey's been sick, and he's probable for tonight's game against Dallas. Zach LaVine is questionable with what they're saying is a hip. Jalen Smith has a tweaked knee that I guess he hurt during warmups. He's probable, as is Patrick Williams, who has a shoulder issue, so he's supposed to play too. Apparently, Derek Lively is not going to play. Daniel Gafford will, based on the latest that I'm seeing. And
Mm.
how many lob dunks does Gafford have? How
I mean, when
many?
you have Luka on them,
Yeah, but it's also
that's gonna
this
happen.
team. This team that can't defend, and when they do get a blow by, if 3 people come over to help and they leave everybody else open. And often that, especially with Dallas, they go lob hunting on this team.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be fun. The Dallas had a 7-5 undrafted rookie in the preseason. They cut him. Can we just sign him for tonight's game?
A
Jamarion
7
Sharp,
a
7-5.
7'5" rookie?
Yeah, Jamarion Sharp. And he just got block after block in the preseason, but they cut him, so he must be really bad.
I was just
Speaking
gonna
of
say,
which,
yeah.
Zach Edey's been really good. Really good. He's starting to shoot now.
Well, he wanted to start shooting threes. And
Yeah,
if he can make corner threes and can be out there offensively and doesn't have to be close to the basket, if he's just capable of doing that, things get pretty interesting then with him.
Mhm. It's pretty surprising to say the least, because I thought he would be terrible. And he looks like he's moving okay. The Grizzlies, I don't know. John Moran is on one right now too.
Yeah.
See what he did to the net the other night? You see those
Well,
2 360. I
it's
mean,
what he does.
dude
It's
is
what he does.
nuts.
Yar. Let me update the Mavs injury report here. Derek Lively is at the moment questionable, and Maxi Kleber is out. PJ Washington is out
I love
for
how you
tonight.
just say Kleber.
Well, that's how they say it.
I know.
If people don't say Maxi Kleber, they say Maxi Kleber.
Kleber.
It's not a Kleber, okay? Yeah, no, that's how he asks his name to be pronounced. So I just, whatever. So with Lonzo hurt now and with some other guys aching, we'll see if I want to see them be in a game where they don't have to get down 15. Although with the way
Mm,
they play now, at the pace that they play now, 15 is like 6,
yeah.
up or
Yeah.
down.
True. True. There's a lot more margin for error on both sides, because you could be up 15, miss a bunch of shots, and they come back. You could be down
Yeah,
15, make a bunch of shots, and come back.
which is
So,
okay when you are playing at that pace. That's kind of the point, that you're going to live by it and you're going to die by it. And at the moment, that's why they're 3 and 4. Is it's going to be very hard to you're not going to slow things down and hold a lead and take the air out of the ball. although there is a time and a place when you want to do that. But we'll see. We just I'll be interested with these injuries and the frequency of games coming up. What Billy starts to do with some of these rotations now.
Yeah, I think the injury report is part of it. I think Modest is that whole Modest thing is a little bit weird because they sent him down to the G League and then brought him back up immediately, and the G League
Mhm.
hasn't played a game yet, so I don't really know what that's all about.
It
Maybe it
was
was
a
to get some
scrimmage.
fun in. Oh,
It
it was
was
a scrimmage,
it was a
and they had to
scrimmage.
legally send him down for him to play there.
Correct. They
Okay,
have
and
to.
then just called him back up. Okay,
It's not like baseball where there's a limited number of options.
yeah.
I mean,
They
I
so
think
they
if
just
somebody
they
has
just
an
did it so
option,
he could scrimmage. I mean, I kind of want to see him get a little bit more run because if they're going to suck, why don't they try to? But at least before the G League season starts, why not try to give him enough run? I think you have to almost treat this season in a lot of ways like it's game 82, where you're just trying to get guys that you think might matter in the future
Mhm.
minutes. I think that's really important right now. You have to treat it like it's game 82. I'm not saying rest all your starters. I'm not saying don't play Levine, don't play Vooch, because they could, if they keep, especially Vooch, but if they keep playing the way they are right now, they could be really increasing their value by the time February rolls around. At the same time, I don't want those guys to be on the floor for 40 minutes a night, 35 minutes a night, when you have guys that could matter in the future just sitting there waiting. You at least want to get them a little bit of run for some sort of goal. They need to play Modest. They need to play Phillips. They need to play all those guys. I don't want to see Torrey Craig touch the floor. I don't want to see Javon Carter touch the floor. No disrespect to them. They just don't matter right now. And even then, and I know sucks that Lonzo's hurt. Feel bad for him. Like obviously it's a wrist thing, but who knows with him at this point? I almost don't want him to play. I and not for people could take that out of context, but not for his sake. For the Bulls' sake, I'd rather see other guys get the minutes because Lonzo Ball does not fit in with this team. I think there's a high chance he could be bought out. If people think that even though he's not what he used to be, he can still be a viable three-point shooter, which he is, and he gets bought out, I think that's the best possible case for
I
both
don't. I don't think that's the best possible
part.
case.
No?
I think the
What do you
best
think
possible
is
case that Joe Cowley brought up is
okay?
if Lonzo can play, and if he can move okay, and if he can hit open threes
Trade
and
him?
continue that because he's an expiring deal,
Ah,
that if you could
it's a
get a
lot of money,
second
though.
round pick, if you could get a second round pick, yeah, but somebody might want the expiring deal if
Still
they got
20
cap
million or
issues.
something.
Right, but it's coming off. So you want it.
Yeah.
You wanna take that, and if you can somehow finagle a second round pick, you've gotta find all kinds of ways to replenish all of this misspent draft capital. That like, so I don't think it's gonna happen, mind you. This was
You
just
know what's
Cowley brought it
funny?
up.
The Bulls haven't done anything in the deadline for, what, the past 3 seasons, and yet they're still down on draft picks and still in a bad position. Kind of been mismanaged. Really has.
It's too bad.
They really
It
kinda screwed themselves.
well, the DeMar deal and everything they gave up, and now they have the one pick left there that they're trying to hold on to. So, it all stems from that at this point. Meanwhile, God, the injuries across the league are just crazy.
Yeah.
So many star players are getting hurt. You see,
Curry's coming back, though.
Yeah, Curry's coming back, but you see, I saw Jeremy Sochan just got hurt. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
get
Oh, the
well soon,
Taylor
Greg.
the sh
uh,
feel awful for, Taylor
Bunk
Hendricks. I don't know if you
and
saw that.
Bunkero. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Paolo
Boncaro.
Bunkero's hurt.
Apparently, it's not as bad as initially thought,
Good.
is what I saw. It's more of a strain. It's a strain, not a tear.
And
Um,
Greg
I just hold
Popovich,
on.
we still
Let
don't know
let me
what's going on
talk.
either. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for Greg Popovich, but I feel awful for Taylor Hendricks, the Jazz second year player. I don't know if you saw what happened. Um, Don't watch it if you are squeamish. This was a little over a week ago.
Mm-mm.
I think he dislocated his patellar tendon, and it was
Oh,
not
ow,
pretty.
ow, 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 ow. Like
Not pretty
Sean
at all.
Livingston.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Do you remember when
yeah,
you remember
and non-contact too. He kind of there was maybe a wet spot on the floor. Foot grabbed, slipped, knee kept going. And he knew immediately, and he kind of just put his hand. He did a surrender cobra. I think he knew exactly what happened.
Oh, that's ugly.
Feel really bad for him.
That's too bad.
Just sucks, especially
Somebody
for a young player.
And speaking of hurt, I saw that Joel Embiid got suspended 3 games for his altercation with that reporter. And
apparently that reporter in the past has made comments about his like dead child or something.
No, his brother. It was his
brother.
Yeah, but you can't do what Embiid did, regardless of being, I don't know if he was triggered by whatever it is, sticks and stones, man. You can't make contact like that. And with the jokes have been going around, like the pun, instead of suspending him, he should be forced to play. So somebody said the first time that instead of taking away 3 games, they should add 3 games.
Oh God,
which I thought was clever. So you mentioned the dunk, the John Collins dunk.
Ooh, ow,
on
sorry,
Kobe.
my elbow hit the microphone. Yes, I did mention that.
Okay.
Yes.
Every once in a while, the NBA's Twitter feed puts out what they call like the boom score.
Yeah, it's new this year. I saw that.
The dunks of and I don't know how they.
It was number 1 in the league, right? It was number 1.
I don't know how they calculate the score for
like vertical leap, velocity through the net, some crazy.
It's something like that, and whether or not you're contacting somebody, if you're putting somebody in the rim.
It's pretty cool though.
Of the ones they showed most recently, and this is something we have to keep a watch on. 2 of them already have been against the Bulls.
Oh, Giannis on Vooch, right?
Yep.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yep. It was, and I predicted it before.
Where is my posting machine?
Yes, before the year started, I said this Bulls team was going to lead the league in having balls dragged across their foreheads.
Hold on. And poster machine.
But this is absolutely. I was thinking tonight, if you have both Lively and Gafford out there, Lively's questionable as we mentioned, but oh my, that's going to be a theme this year.
Speaking of Lively, this dude Yves Missy on New Orleans, I told you. Yeah, he was on there too. He dunked on Miles Turner the other night. He's blocking everything. I told you. I said from before the draft, no matter where the Bulls ended up, I really like Yves Missy because he's a rim protector and he dunks everything. Mm-hmm. And I do think Modest could be really good. But when I look at Yves Missy right now and what the Bulls have been lacking since I was -4 years old, except, well, I mean, joking, no, I'm just trying to hyperbolize a little bit. Since the regime change, at least, what they've been lacking is a rim-running rim protector who dunks everything and blocks everything. That dude, Yves Missy, can play. And the Mavericks are going to kill them tonight. I'm just going to say it. Mavericks are going to destroy them. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively.
That's what I'm saying. That there's
are going to shred them, and that goes without saying. They have this Slovenian wizard that trash talks like Kobe and is fat, and he doesn't care. Well, and he will destroy you with every inch of his body. And being, and this is gonna suck, and everything's gonna suck. And this is me just venting now because of all of what is going on in the world, and I am totally taking it out on the Bulls and the Bears because, oh my God, fire Matt Eberflus. We still suck. Everything effing sucks everywhere. Good night. Have a nice day. Next 4 years are cooked.
Yep.
You can hate me all you want for politics, whatever. I don't care. You can go screw yourself. Where everything sucks. This is fantastic.
I'm just drinking your liberal tears because F your feelings. Oh, I found a place to watch the Bears game Sunday. in New Orleans.
Oh God.
There's apparently a bar
What,
right
are
near
we
our
going
hotel.
together to watch it?
If you want, it's right near our
What
hotel.
time's your flight? What time's your flight?
Not till late Sunday.
Oh, so we can watch it. Oh, yeah, we'll watch the game. Do you want to come
Yeah.
to the boot and watch it?
No, I don't want to watch it.
Friday night, you and mom are come to the boot, and that is everybody brings their parents. That is what it is.
Oh, I don't want to go to the boot.
Mom does. Of course she does.
Yeah, because she likes
But
trashy college bars with everybody running into each other, and she'll drink a bunch of
I
cheap
don't really
beer out
like
of a
the boot that
plastic
much
cup.
either, but it's a universal experience that you
I
guys have
know,
to,
I gotta do it. I know. But yeah, we're all set. But there's a cool sports bar that I guess has some kind of Chicago connection. It's near our hotel, so we'll watch the Bears game there.
God.
All right, time for the showdown.
Okay.
All right.
I apologize for that rant, but at the same time, I really don't, because I stand behind every word I said, and I'm saying that as a white guy. I know that I'm going to be okay, but I just feel terrible for everyone that doesn't look like you and me.
You have white privilege, is what you have.
I do. I have white, straight male privilege, and I just feel awful for everyone else in this country that is either a different gender or doesn't look like me. And
yeah, I do too. It's
I,
really unfortunate. Some people.
I know this is a basketball podcast, but this is. Some things are a little bit more important than Kobe White getting dunked on. So I am just kind of shocked and disappointed, but sun will be up tomorrow.
We hope. It's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain for the football game Saturday, by the way.
Yeah, there's a hurricane in the Caribbean. We're just supposed to get a little bit of rain.
I know.
Okay, do you want me to go first?
Well, first, let's just mention that we had our first stumper for the crowd question. Unless you got something, I did not get a correct answer on the stumper, and that was, other than Chris Duarte, the 4 players of Dominican descent currently in the NBA. We know one is Karl Anthony Towns, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The other is...
There are 4.
So
it's 4, not including Duarte. So the 5 are Duarte, Towns, Justin Minaya, Al Horford, and Lester Quinones, I believe. Yep. So those are the 5.
That is right.
There you go.
So I decided to do something that I can't believe I hadn't done this for you before.
Okay.
But because I am, that's why I'm kind of wearing the Tulane sweatshirt, because we're headed down there early tomorrow for Parents Weekend down in New Orleans. Can you name the 3 former Tulane basketball players who played at least one game for the Chicago Bulls?
Whoa. No way in hell.
Really? I would think that you would sort of commit that. No,
that is most definitely an L on my part. I probably should have.
Okay.
Hot Rod Williams never did. The things that I really don't know. A lot of their NBA players have been terrible, except for Hot Rod Williams. Yes. So it's really difficult and just forgettable.
All right. Well,
the only other guy that I really know that's been recent was Melvin Frazier, but he never played for the Bulls.
Correct.
So there's one dude on this year's team, though, there's only one guy that I think has any chance of doing anything professionally in the United States. They're gonna have some international guys, but there's one dude who I think he reminds me a lot of Julian Phillips, eerily similar.
Huh.
And
what's his name?
I mean, he's a transfer from Texas A&M, and he only transferred to Tulane so he could be closer to home because he's from Louisiana. So
what's his name?
Tyler Ringgold. I interviewed him after the game and got his Instagram. He's my age, but he's a redshirt freshman.
Don't they have some guy on the team named like Jake Shapiro or something?
Oh, he doesn't play.
Of course he doesn't play.
He's a walk-on.
He does all their taxes, I think.
Okay, Dad.
We are suiting up our accountant. Yeah, so I'll give you the names here.
Okay.
So in 1976-77, Phil Hicks played for the Bulls. Congratulations, Phil Hicks. In 1967, 7-foot center Craig Spitzer played 10 games for the Bulls.
Okay.
And finally, this guy I actually remember, Linton Johnson III.
Is he a president?
Was on the
I'm
Bulls.
kidding.
Linton
I know.
Johnson was on the Bulls in both 03, 04 and in 08, 09. So there was another who played in like 1947, but that wasn't the Bulls. That was some fly-by-night NBA team in Chicago. But there you have it. Those are the 3 Tulane players who played for the Bulls.
Got it.
All right.
I have an interesting question for you because the Windy City Bulls just announced their G League roster and all this stuff. So my question to you is, can you name the 4 most recent players that played in the G League to make an NBA All-Star team? And they're all pretty big names. And I'll just say this now to make it a little bit easier.
Ooh.
Two were late first-round draft picks. 1 was a second-round draft pick, and 1 was undrafted.
To play in an NBA All-Star game?
Yes.
What a great question. And they played in the G League. Okay. All right. I think I have one.
Who?
Siakam.
Pascal Siakam. Yes. Probably the easiest name on the list because you might not remember a couple of these guys playing in the G League, but they were, either a late first round, because he was a late first round pick. So it was like that, a late first round pick that was sent to the G League.
Developmental guys.
Yeah. And I think for 2 of them, it was the D League at that time. So, but I mean, it doesn't really make a difference.
I'm trying to think of people who had like these like meteoric improvement like that. Did Van Vliet?
Fred Van Vliet.
So that's 2
All-Star game.
Is there going to be something wild? Like, did Giannis ever play a game there early? Okay,
no. It's gonna everybody played at more than 1 game in the G League, and it's known that they were in the G League and made an All-Star game. So
okay, I used to be able to name all the CBA guys back when I was working in that league.
I just thought this would be an interesting one.
It is, but I'm gonna declare victory getting 2 of them.
Okay, so you want me to give you the other 2?
Yeah, I do.
One of them is former NBA champion Chris Middleton.
He played the G League? I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, because he was a second-round pick.
Yes. Yeah.
Drafted by the Pistons, and he was sent to the G League. And I don't know, this one for me, I knew about Chris Middleton. I forgot. I didn't really know that he played in the G League, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Rudy Gobert.
Because he was so raw.
Yeah. For 8 games or something, was in the G League in Utah, and he was an NBA All-Star. Obviously, I'm not going to count. I didn't really count guys like Isaiah Thomas, the newer one,
little guy,
because he made an NBA All-Star team and then started sucking and went to the G League. I was more so counting guys that were put in the G League when they were really early in their career and made it through.
On the way up, guys,
like
and not on the way down, guys. Yes.
Right. Yeah. If Isaiah Hartenstein eventually makes an NBA All-Star team, he would be one of those guys, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I just thought that would be a fun question. And I'm sure eventually there are going to be some more of those guys because G League's been trending up recently. And I also didn't count G League Ignite guys. However, I don't even know if a G League Ignite guy has made an All-Star team yet. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am. It's like Jalen Green and Kuminga, those guys. Like Kuminga playing the G League. I didn't count those guys because that doesn't really that's before the NBA, so it's not really possible. So yeah, all right, that was
very good. Here's the crowd question. Here we go, because you just mentioned the Jazz, and when the Jazz are among the teams I believe are clearly tanking for an opportunity at the Cooper Flag top overall pick. That there are
might not be Cooper. Everybody in this draft is good.
This
draft is loaded.
I know, but Flag's great. Did you watch him the other night? He is a man. and he's
You
like
think he's already
17
better
years
than
old.
Modest?
Yes.
Really?
Oh my God. I would so much different animals. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah. Cooper Flagg?
Did you see that dude VJ Ed Crombie from Baylor posterized Mark Few's kid
I
on
sent it to
Gonzaga?
you. I
Yeah.
sent it to you. That was
What?
Joe Few. Poor kid. I feel terrible for him, but get out the way. Get out the way, young man. Come on. So with
I
the
want to go higher.
exactly with the Jazz tanking. Oh, did I ever tell you the Derrick Rose story that I heard about that dunk on Dragic?
No.
So yes, somebody I know was in the locker room and talked to Derrick after that dunk. And so, hey, it's just like, Derrick. So tell us about that dunk on Dragic. And Derrick just looks up and just goes, yeah, I shit on him.
Fair play.
Yeah, fair play. Yes, young man, you did. All right. So with the Jazz tanking, I looked. They're one of 6 teams because I kept thinking, okay, who have the Jazz taken number 1 overall? And the answer is nobody. They've never had a number 1 overall pick. So your crowd question, who is the Jazz's highest drafted player ever?
Wow.
Who is the Utah Jazz's highest drafted single player in their history? And that is Utah/New Orleans Jazz. So you can take it all the way back.
Wow.
All the way back in their history. They've
Really
never
good
had
question.
a number 1. And apparently, I was going to look at this. Apparently, and I have to check on this. I guess the Pacers have never had a number 1 overall pick even play for them. Ever. Which I thought was weird. Like, even the Bulls have. The Bulls had Joe Smith for a while.
Derrick Rose was drafted number 1 overall.
Right, but I'm saying, like, even somebody they didn't draft, like, guys have cycled through, but I don't think they've ever had an. So that's the crowd question. Name the highest drafted Utah Jazz player in their history, and you can send your answer to @Dan_Bernstein on Twitter or @Jason.Bernstein_ on Instagram. Just hashtag OWC Showdown, and we'll shout you out on the next episode. All right, kiddo. We will see you tomorrow.
No, Friday. You're not seeing me tomorrow.
Oh, I'm not? Why not? We're getting there early.
You guys are going to dinner with Paul.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, she made all.
And also tonight everybody, or tomorrow night everybody's going to be going out because they know their parents are going to be with them all weekend. So tomorrow night everybody is going pretty hard. So yeah.
Okay, great. So that's your episode. Like it, subscribe, rate it, download, do all the things that bring the episodes to you, and we will talk to you again next week with the latest on your rampaging Chicago Bulls.